Excellent. Excellent. Oh, good, good, good. Okay, I think everyone can hear me. Also before we continue, can you give us an indication of where you're joining us from today, and just let us know which country or which city you're joining us from today. Okay, we have people from the UK. Excellent. We are from Lagos, Nigeria. We have from Kenya, Nairobi. All right, we have from Malawi. Oh, excellent. Oh, great. We have participants from many countries. We'll get this going whilst we wait for others to join us. This is the very first webinar for Motivating Africa, the platform we created last year to try to break myths as well as ignite possibilities amongst Africans. We're going to set the ball rolling by asking ourselves, what does it mean to break free? What does freedom actually mean to you? Is it financial freedom? Is it time freedom? Or is it freedom to explore given talent? Is it freedom to make progress and find your way to success? Or is it freedom to unleash your potential? Freedom to do what exactly? Freedom is your right to demand what you want from life. That is what I've discovered. Happiness, prosperity, and abundance. Remember that success is a debt that we owe to life, and we must pay that debt by being successful in our endeavors, whatever that may be. This webinar is about us, Africans, and how we can break free from the shackles of mediocrity, poverty, and failure to the promised land of wealth, success, and accomplishment. Today, I will share with you some of the life-changing principles and lessons that I have learned over the last 20 years to help free myself from the bondage of decline, hardship, and ignorance. But before we commence, let me tell you a little bit about myself to help text for some of the life-changing lessons I'm going to share with you today. 24 years ago, I dropped out of university. Like many adults at the time in Nigeria, the dream was to go abroad. Europe and America was where we could make it. The problem was I had no money. So I set about the arduous journey of traveling to Europe. That didn't quite work out. I got as far as Egypt and got deported after 3 months. Conciliation, which is whilst in an external rejection. I know this for a fact because I have turned this to impress you, but to impress you that I'm nothing special, but that it is possible to dominate your circumstances and demand from life what you want. The next 30 minutes or so might be the most important in your quest to break free from the mental case of want and limitations that holds people down across Africa and keeps them down. The first lesson I'm going to share with life as it made me more aware of opportunities. Made me more of opportunities I did not even know existed, and it prepared me for the exploitation of such opportunities. The first lesson is about personal growth. A good friend of mine, a legal luminary based in Lagos, Nigeria, Kunle Ajagbe, said last week in a conversation, that it is extraordinary how ignorant we remain in the face of access to so much information. There is always opportunity for an improved mind, always. You can always tell those committed to personal development when you ask them what they read, or what they listen to, or what they watch. Ask yourself, when was the last time you bought a book to, or watched a YouTube video to help prove on anything? With authority, because the more I learned new stuff, the better I became. And the better I became, my circumstances improved. The decision 20 years ago to go back to school to take specialized studies was indeed the turning point of my life. Everything changed for me. I had so much information that all I now began to see was possibilities and opportunities. In 10 years, I went from destitute, sleeping on the streets and using public toilets and bathrooms, to becoming a consultant for the government. That indeed is a power of personal development. Please don't ask for the work to be easier. Get more skills. Don't pray for your circumstances to change. Work on getting better. In whatever area we may wish to apply our abilities. And to find happiness or accomplishment, willing to sacrifice for the expansion of our talents, to develop ourselves. It is much easier to abilities if one has a definite purpose, concentrates, focus, adds power into take. The tragedy in life does not lie in your reaching your goals, in not reaching your goals. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. Your goals have the capacity to motivate action, something to strive for. Hence the reason why they are so important. I recall when I had a goal to earn a certain amount of money to supplement my income. I became aware of opportunities I had been blind to. When I've achieved that goal, I was courageous to set another. The series of goals have enabled me to develop myself and set up international operations. I learned that we should dream and see, and when we get there, we will see further. When traveling by road, your headlamps can only see for about 50 to 100 yards, yet you are able to travel hundreds of kilometers by staying on course. Just as bad as having no goals is having too many goals. It is really important that you are not spreading yourself too thin. The focus is a very powerful virtue as it affords you the concentration you need to get things done. Recently, I saw what I believed was a really good opportunity to invest in a project in Nairobi. I still think that it is a good opportunity, but I'm already halfway through another opportunity in Accra, Ghana. Speaking to my older brother who is experienced in the matters of property, he advised that there's always a good deal tomorrow and that it is important to see one project through to the end than to have two unfinished projects that will stress you. A ship at the end of the day cannot be at two ports at the same time. So be as mindful at doing too much as you remain vigilant against doing way too little. The next lesson has been called the stranger's secret. The next lesson has been called the strangest secret for 60 years, yet it continues to elude us. How can something so fundamental to our well-being be such a secret? The secret is that we become what we think about. Since I learned about this secret, I have become more mindful. I've become more mindful about what I think about, because the mind is like a fertile garden. It returns whatever plants in it. If you plant vegetables, it returns vegetables. If you pay attention to it, you will have a very rich harvest. But if you let weeds of thoughts take root, you will harvest weeds. So we must stand guard at the gates of our mind. What you think upon grows. You think of nothing, you become nothing. You think about progress, you make progress. When people come to me and speak about their frustrations and what they are thinking about, what are they focusing their thoughts on? And 9 out of 10 times the responses are flimsy and they are lame. You might be thinking, well, I'm not in the category that I must be that one person out of 10. Well, to know how you are faring with your thoughts, look at your circumstances, because we are the sum total of our thoughts. Are your circumstances getting better? Are they improving? Or are you stuck in a rut? So if we want to change our life, we need to change our thinking. The roots of riches grow from the seeds of thought. As a man thinketh, so he is. As he continues to think, so he will remain. So what are you thinking about? A man never achieves the height above his level of thought. All a man achieves and all he fails to achieve are the direct results of his thoughts, said James Allen. Achievement of any kind is a result of thought. Thoughts are causes. The results we achieve are the effects. There's no way you can create anything that you have not thought about. So paying attention to what you are thinking about. A wise man once said that thinking is so difficult. That is why so many people don't engage in it. Don't let that be true of you after learning from today's lessons. The next lesson is a great ally to anyone who is to change their life. It is available to all, yet it is one of the scarcest resources known to man. Control and dominate this resource and your life will change forever. I'm speaking about time. What does time really mean to you? And what is the relevance of time in the scheme of breaking free? One of the important advice I want to leave with you today is this, and you should write this down. Rich people spend money to save time, and poor people spend time to save money. One of these two types of people know which is more valuable. We try to preserve that which we value and expend that which we do not value. Think about it. Every day we're given the same amount of time, whether we are rich or black and white, tall or short. It does not matter how you expend it the day before. You are given another daily dose without any questions asked. This is indeed very generous. This of time is given so freely that we no longer ascribe any value to it. And thus, we like to think that we can live for 1,000 years. Well, we don't. We shouldn't live like we've got 1,000 years to live. The difference between those who succeed and break free is the extent to which each uses his or her own time productively. Oh yes, we do use the time every day, but not necessarily productively. Check out how much time you spend on social media in a day on WhatsApp, and you see what I mean. And ask yourself if that time would have been better spent reading a book. Think about how much time you spend consuming other people's entertainment, like all those TV series that we binge on. You hear young Africans about how many seasons they have watched of program A and program B and how current they are. Yet they allow the seasons of their lives to pass them by without sowing any seeds that will flourish into a rich harvest. One cynic said that rich people create entertainment to keep poor people poor. I wrote an article called The Principle of 2920. You should read it. You will find it on our website, motivatingafrica.com, and search for Principle of 2920. It is about how much spare time we have at our disposal after you account for work, play, and sleep. Those who have made the most progress in their lives are those who have made the most use of their 2920. The extent of the use you make of 2920, the extent of the progress you make or are making towards your goals. Personally, when I find myself making excuses about not having time to do anything, I remind myself of 2920, the number of free hours I have in a year. And I realize that it is not time that we don't have. It is the wrong priorities that we set that eats up into this most valuable resource. Do you realize what you can accomplish in that time? It takes only about 50 hours to write a best-selling book, less than 2 hours to write a good blog post of perhaps 1,000 words. 50 of such posts can be put together into a book. By all means, please find time to relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor, but you have to produce the fruits first. The next lesson is a concept that separates those who cower at the face of adversity and those who don't stop trying when things get really, really difficult. In Africa, we are so adept at blaming circumstances for our inabilities to break free and live the lives that we want. When we are done blaming the circumstances, we now start finding people to blame. A man is sick because of poor eating habits, or crashes his car because he fails to adhere to simple road signs. And the first reasoning is someone evil is responsible. I'm referring to mindset. There's a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. I strongly recommend it. She explains that there are two types of mindset, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Those with a fixed mindset believe that ability or inability is innate and cannot be changed or improved. Those with a growth mindset believe that our abilities can be improved. There's a fundamental difference in people's ability to strive to get better or to relinquish the struggle, stagnate, and literally enter into the collapsing walls of self-doubt, blame, and low self-esteem. Circumstances don't really change. We change. As we change, we can change our circumstances. But how does one improve on their circumstances when we are not improving? When they think they cannot improve. Remember, as we continue to think, so we remain. A mindset is a belief that orients the way we handle situations, our response to situations, our response ability, the way we sort out what is going on and what we should do. Our mindset helps us spot opportunities, but it can trap us in self-defeating cycles. Stop blaming others and stop blaming yourself. Focus on learning lessons that your struggles present. There's no one who is born to fail, and we are not even born lazy. We pick up lazy mental habits as we get older, and we fall into bad company that reinforces a negative mental attitude that limits our progress. Don't sit around the table at work and blame your employers. Be grateful for the work that you have and do by far more than you're being paid to do. That is adding value. Make that a habit. Don't complain. Improve. Make that also a habit, and you will see that your progress skyrockets. The next thing I like to speak about has laid waste the very best ideas known to man. The inability to muster courage to put the next lesson to use in earnest has filled many with deep regrets of what could have been. Yet nothing more can be more gratifying. The next lesson is just start and persist. 10 years ago, when I made the decision to commence my current journey into entrepreneurship, I recall sitting in the staff common room with some of my colleagues who had done much more than I was planning to do. Sitting there, I was hoping to get all the encouragement I needed to take on this challenge. The only problem was all their plans were still in their heads, and as I discovered eventually, had been in their heads for the last 7 years. Till this day, they still speak about how different things would have been them if they had started at the same time that I did. These are some of the most talented people in my field, but today they've been reduced to people who would rather complain about the government and how the system is stacked against them. My professional training taught me that I need to have all my plans written down with all the charts showing how the business will look in 2 to 3 years' time. All this is good, of course. But the amount of planning that can compensate for movement, nothing can take the place of action. No matter how small, just start. You start, then you can grow. Recently, I ran into a US-trained medical professional whom I'd met about 8 years ago. He has come back home to contribute, to give back. Really noble. You have to respect that. Only problem is he wants to build a world-class hospital in Ghana before he can commence his practice. The project has not gone to the drawing board, and no one wants to help unless you have been able to demonstrate that you can do it, albeit from a very small base. Opportunity respects effort and rewards enterprise. The doctor could have started in the time they have been in Ghana and started practicing, even from a rented facility. Starting small always gives you an opportunity to learn to manage a small practice, grow your confidence, and be in the best position to demonstrate potential to prospective investors. We need to understand that we can and we should start from where we are. The fruit is in the seed. The oak tree rests in the acorn. Now contrast this with another Ghanaian who decided to start and that she has been nursing in her mind for over 5 years. This is 10 years ago. The resources have never been available. I recall this very summer evening, it felt as if everything had stopped. As a lady broke down in tears right in front of me and confessed that it was too difficult to start something on your own. Nothing seemed to be working. The owner of the borrowed car she was using wanted it back. A sponsor who was to give tickets to the finalists to participate in the international finals was pulling out because it had gone bankrupt. The local schools were not interested, and what was meant to be a national competition had only 6 schools and 30 participants that were all based in Accra. Hardly what you would call a national competition. I recall encouraging her to just start. Next year, they will see all that you did last year and you can start building your track record. Today, the annual National Spelling Bee contest in Ghana has almost 1,000 participants annually from schools all over the country. The owner of the franchise now organizes similar events in other countries. This lady is now a recognized voice in early years education in Ghana and has recently been nominated for Woman of the Year in Ghana. What a difference starting anything makes. What a difference persistence makes. She demonstrated persistence in the face of incredible challenges. But you see, from struggle comes strength. Persistence to character is like carbon to steel. Persistence of effort and the constancy of purpose will draw an individual to greatness. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Education will not do it either. The world is full of very, very educated derelicts. So start and persist. Start by being mindful of your time. Start by standing guard to the gates of your mind. Don't let just anything in. Avoid people who don't make you think positive and uplifting thoughts, and see the world for all the achievements that is possible. Start by setting small goals. If you want to be a writer, start by writing 500 words a month. Your frequency and output will improve as you develop a growth mindset. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start by developing yourself along the line of the work you want to engage in. Set a goal to read a book a month about this line of endeavor. Start by registering the domain for the new business idea that you have. Just start something. Let me leave you with this food for thought. As we have often said, we should begin from where we are. Remember this whenever you find yourself in a situation where nothing seems to work. When nothing seems to work and there's opportunity nowhere. Oftentimes the opportunities are there. It is perhaps because we seem fixated on things not working and we do not realize that with exactly the same ingredients that the opportunities are now here. The difference is slight, but the impact is significant. By changing the way we look at the problems, we might actually be able to spot by far more opportunity. I want to thank you all. For joining us, today. We will take questions now, but before we do that, I would like to acknowledge that in putting together this piece, I've drawn from the works of some really great people, Elle Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, T.R. Eka, Og Mandino, Carol Dweck, Dennis Kimbrough, and many others. You should seek them out and draw inspiration as well from their works. Go and live your life. Go and break free. Before the questions, please, after the webinar, please remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please visit our website where we have lots of articles that can help, as well as some videos. Thank you very much. I'm sorry some of you experienced some breaking along the way. I hope it improved along as the webinar progressed. We're happy to take some of the questions now. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat box. Thank you very much. Yes, questions, please. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. So someone is asking, how does one determine that the desire is the one and not a pipe dream? That's a really good question. That question is coming from Kenya. So how does one determine that the desire is the one and not just a pipe dream? I think yes, it's a really good question because there are lots of people who feel a certain burning desire about a particular course of action, and they need to know. They want to know whether it is. I can only speak for myself. For me personally, if I find that the same thought keeps me awake at night for more than 3 weeks, then I know that this is something that I should work on. And please, so long as you feel very strongly that this is something that you really want to do, all right, and you're prepared to pay the price, because there's nothing like something for nothing. There's a young lady that I know in Kenya. I think she's listening to us today, Miss Kimani, who's resigned from a job in a bank, all right, to pursue her dreams. Now, you don't make that kind of a decision unless that desire has become consuming. So that is one way that you know, all right? You're thinking about it all the time. And if that continues to consume you, then you know that, then you have a very good idea that that is the one. Someone says that Peter from Nigeria is asking, what is your advice for startups in an emerging market? The advice, my best advice on this is that you need to find something. The first thing is that it has to be something that you really enjoy. All right, don't go into anything because you think someone else is making money out of it. that it is important that we go into things that we really enjoy, because so long as you're destined for success, you will certainly meet challenges. And the difference between those people who are genuinely passionate about wanting to make a difference and want to live a life of purpose is that when those challenges come, they persist. They don't up and leave. They don't give up. They keep going. There are opportunities, especially in emerging markets, and especially in Africa, for anyone who wants to make a difference, for anyone who really wants to make an impact on people's lives. So don't think about startups as if, people say startups, so I want to start something, I need money. I've never subscribed to that idea that you always will need money. All right, what you need is resourcefulness, not money. All right, so find what it is that you like to do, that you're really passionate about, and then you can go for it. I hope that helps, Peter. Thank you very much for your comment, Williams. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kingsley. Hi, Kingsley. How are you? Now, Kingsley is asking from Nigeria. He said, how do you manage demands for your time in a very busy city like Lagos, having in mind that both work, multiple streams of income, and extra source of income all need focus and dedicated time? This is an excellent question, especially from Lagos. Yes, that it cannot be that easy. What I said earlier on is that the first thing you need to do, of course, is to break down how you spend your 24 hours. Like I said earlier on, many a time, if it is the case, we think we're not finding time, it might be a case of misplaced priorities. And then also you will find that all these things that you're referring to as multiple sources of income, if you do an 80-20 analysis, you will find that 80% of that extra revenue is coming from only 20% of the activities. So therefore, the other 80% of the activities are not necessarily adding value. So you might need to cut them loose. This 80-20 Pareto principle works like magic. You should focus your attention on those 20% of activities that will generate 80% of the returns. The rest of them, let somebody else deal with. I hope that helps, Peter. How do you break free in a perfectly competitive industry? That sounds like a question for strategy. But the first thing, of course, with that, Peter, is that maybe we should rise above this notion of competition. The truth is, there is enough for everyone. There is enough for everyone. This is a world of abundance. The fact that I make money or earn money doesn't mean that the next person has less of an opportunity or will have less. Right? There is enough to go round everyone. And if the resources is finished, this good God of ours will create more. It is not possible. It is not possible for us. It is not possible for us to enrich ourselves, and by enriching ourselves, we make others poorer. Right? Because that is a competitive spirit, and it is not necessarily the way to go. But you will find, or I found, that the more you improve upon yourself, the more you develop yourself, the more room that you can make for yourself. There's always room at the top. So work on getting yourself better, and you will spot more opportunities. What is the place? Timile is asking, what is the place of timing in pursuing your vision and dreams? And what are the things that one should look out for that will let him know that is the right time that will let him know that it is the right time. Okay, to take the step. All right. Time is a finite. Time is a finite resource. And what you find is that if we had all the time in the world, then we can achieve all the things that we want. but we don't always have time. The visions that you have and the dreams that you have, you concretize them by setting very clear and specific goals and objectives. So it is not the case. There's a gentleman I met in an event last Saturday who said to me he wants to be the greatest politician that ever existed out of Ghana. I said, great. So the first thing you need to do is to learn how to serve people. And if you want to learn to serve people, again, then you need to get yourself ready to contest in the next, perhaps, local elections, for example. Those elections have got time frames. So you find that when you lock your objectives down for them to motivate you, you need to lock them up in time. So as you continue to achieve them step by step, you find that you're getting closer and closer to your goal and your vision. There is a politician in Ghana who came back from the States many years ago, and that's exactly what he did. He started from the very lowest levels in politics, and he got into the council elections, won a seat before he now became member of parliament in the National Assembly, before he now began to, of course he didn't win, but in his own way, the man himself is a success because he had goals and he had dreams and he went for them. So it always takes time. I think one of the biggest problems that we face on the continent of Africa is that we want to succeed today and we don't realize that it takes time for that to happen. Overnight success takes at least 15 years. And then someone from Kenya, Lillian, says passion is a feeling, and just like any other feeling, it fluctuates with time. Some sources advise on someone choosing a path rational, follow thereafter. What's your take? Passion or being rational first? That's a really, really excellent one. Now, what I find is that when we put rationality first, when we put it first, we tend to overanalyze, and we might end up being paralyzed by analysis because we look at the numbers all the time. We look at what makes sense and what doesn't make sense all of the time. How do you tell? How do you reconcile a situation where the kid wants to dance or wants to play music? That is what they have a passion for. But the parent wants them to become doctors or engineers or something else. All right. So of course the parent loves them, so they want them to do something like that. But where the kid's attention, where the kid's real passion is for dancing and for music. What do you do? All right. So my take is that passion will always trump rationality, always. All right. That when push comes to shove, you find that passion is an incredibly strong emotion. But that is my take. That passion trumps it. And NAC says, in this social media age where we all need to empower, and how do we filter and learn and unlearn in this modern and fast-paced world? So let me take this again. In this social media age where all we need to empower and distract us is online. Okay, what we need to empower us and distract us is online. How do we filter and learn and unlearn in this modern age? Excellent on NAC. Now you find that, when you have no vision, or you've not defined your purpose, you realize that you will be that kind of person who is always online, and you're actually surfing. Those days we say you surf the internet. That is what people still do. You go from one thing to the other, to the other, and to the other. But if you find that there's something that you want to achieve, you realize that what you search for on YouTube is very specific. You find out what you search for online is very specific. The people that you follow on social media is also quite specific. You find that your goals and your visions and your purpose actually serves as natural filters to the kind of information that you should be consuming online. Thank you very much. Yes, Tolu, hello, how are you? Kingsley makes a contribution. He says motivation is a multiplying factor as well as passion. I think I have to agree. Yes, okay. Are there Any more questions? We have space to take one or two more questions or contributions. Yes. Okay. If that is, thanks for joining us. Okay, thank you very much. If that is about all we will have time for. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for time today. I hope that you have found today's session useful. If you have any more questions, please visit our Facebook page and send us an inbox message, or send an email to info@motivating Africa. We'll let you guys know when we have our next webinar, and we'll send invite links to you all. Thank you so very much for making our time today. You will also get a link for the recording of this webinar, so you can go and also share with your friends and family. Thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy the rest of your week.